Here's the part that broke on my 80cc motorized bike. This is the wrist pin. The bearing was floating on it still, but it had broken right in the middle. And I was getting very clunky performance. You could kind of hear racket when I got up to speed, and it was probably about a third of the power as normal, and it didn't idle very well at all, but it still ran. So I unplugged it, and so I opened it up and found out that this wrist pin was broken. And so having since ordered a new one, I'm going to install this. So here's the old piston. You can see it's got a bit of wear on the side. Not a whole lot of scoring on the inside of the cylinder. Not too bad, so I'm just going to throw a new piston in. I got that in the mail. This comes with the wrist pin also, but it does not come with that bearing, so I had to order the bearing separately, and I got an additional wrist pin. But this kit right here, it comes with the 80cc, I think that's a high hole. It looks like it's directly in the middle if you look at it from the side. The other one, it hangs down a little lower for a shorter crank, but this is I guess they call this the long crank. But if you look at it, it's right in the middle. I think it's like 21 and 26 millimeter if you want to check. I think this is the 26 millimeter one, but I just look at them as it's directly in the center of the piston, where the other one would be further down. A little bit of orientation here. They show this arrow. That's going to face forward, kind of like the direction of the exhaust. Gas comes in, goes out, yay, goes that way. So put the arrow in that direction. It gets burnt here, and then it goes out that way. So really there's not a whole lot to do other than put this piston on. First thing, I'm going to grease up this wrist pin. And I have some injector oil for my jet ski, but I run it in this 80cc as well. And I'm just going to get that on there. Now these rings, they have locator pins here too. There's a locator pin. And you can see that the ring is actually designed to hug that. That's right there. And then this other ring has one right there. So you got to make sure that those are touching that. In fact, while I'm here, I'm going to put a little bit of oil on here. Not going to get too crazy. It's good enough. So this bearing goes here. Piston goes on. I actually had to hammer out the last one, so it's a pretty tight fit. There we go. So now it's hugging it, it's holding on. Now I have these clips. So there's one clip. There we go. And once it's in there, you can push it back as far as it'll go. Okay, so that was the hard part pretty much. Just double check the orientation of these pins. It probably wouldn't go on anyway. But they say to have these open spots on the intake side. So that's where they are. The exhaust is that way. And we have the rings protecting that exhaust. So really I just got to get this head to go on while taking note. And I just clip my fingernails. You could probably use them actually if I had some. Some people, they put a zip strip around it to compress the rings. I got that one. Not too bad. I just got to check the orientation of that other pin for the rings. There you go. Looks like there's a little bit of chamfer on the jug here. And then I'm going to want to check that I'm not screwing up my my seal there with the gasket. I didn't rechange the gasket. It was pretty good. It's a cheap, inexpensive engine, so I wasn't going to put any more money into it than I thought I needed to. So this one, the bolts just go right down the side here, and they screw the cooling fin jug, the cylinder here. Now these are supposed to be torqued. They should be torqued. But you're going to need Allen wrenches to do the torquing. So it kind of gets where you have to have specialized tools. And I'm going to, until I get those tools, I'm going to guess about 10 pounds at a foot. 10 foot-pounds of torquing these down. And I'm going to guess. You could probably just hammer them in as hard as they'll go, and it would probably work. But it does smash the gasket. So it's nice if you do it just right. But it's just like putting on a wheel with the lug nuts. You want to tighten a little bit here, a little bit there. Kind of go here first, and go over here, snugging things up. Now it would probably run this snug. It's holding tight. So I'm going to put a wrench on it. Okay, so they're all pretty snug. So I have this piece of tubing like for a jack. I'm just going to go over here and go till I feel about 12 pounds against my palm. Now I do have a torque wrench. I bought it used on eBay and it hasn't made it here yet. But this is kind of what I planned on doing anyway. I really bought that for my jet ski because I don't want to guess there. But you know what 12 pounds feels like in your palm? It's just like one of those small gym weights. I guarantee it's not the first corner that was cut on this motor, production or otherwise. Just give it a nice 12 foot-pounds. Probably be fine with 10. That's a good amount. Now this used to be a ball at the end here. I recommend shaving that off because that ball is just going to strip and it's going to find its way into being stuck there inside of the hex head, which is actually what happened. I was lucky to get it out after that. So anyway, today's the 4th of July. I figure my fireworks are being contained and used to make locomotion. Yeah, that's good. That's good all around. So that's it. I mean, growing up, I hear people talk about doing the top end on a motorbike, and I'm sure it's more work on like a, an actual motorcycle. But that's the top end rebuild. Just put a new piston in. You may have had to bore out the cylinder, take it to someone, and they'd bore it out. But this one really wasn't that bad. It didn't have a lot of time on it. But I did have a flooded carburetor, and that possibly could have made hydraulic lock. And then when the piston came up, it couldn't crush it, and then it broke the pin, is what I think happened. Because it was running fine, and then the carburetor ended up being very flooded. And then I fixed that, and now I have this problem where the wrist pin is broken. It was broken right in the middle. So now I have them both fixed. I have a video about the carburetor problem, if you're interested in that. That was a piece that had vibrated loose in the bowl. So now that that's fixed and this is fixed, I'm pretty much good to go. I'm going to try some mufflers soon. I'm going to glass pack this muffler. This is the stock muffler. I'd like to try to make it as quiet as possible. And I might end up getting a performance muffler too, maybe the expansion chamber or that thrust F2, one of the two. And then I'll probably do a comparison on those. But just for today, this is the top end rebuild, doing it on the bike, showing how easy it was. I've been thinking about it probably 50 times more than the time it took me to do it. So I'm glad I took the time today, and hope the video helps you. If you'd like to, shop at my eBay store, GB Hatchery. I have all kinds of used items. If you buy some used clothing of a higher name brand, it may save you a little bit of money. You look good, and you can get free 80cc motorized bike parts by the offset on your wallet. So there's that, and also Seller Warehouse. I'll leave a link in the description to both. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. See you in the next video.